Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be making a Cero beam for our level 2 video. We're going to be using the Tween service to create the animation shown in the beginning, and we're going to be using the parts and parts method to create a hitbox. Now let's begin. Alright, our first step is the creator tool. We're going to be using the same activator as last time. We equip our tool and it plays the ability. If you don't know how this works, I suggest you watch my first episode, even though it's completely garbage. So first we're going to add our first function, which is to instantly geoequip the tool as we equip it to function exactly like an ability. Like I said, if you don't know how this works, you gotta watch my first episode. Then we have to set the cooldown. Quick summary on how this works. So when we equip our tool, this line will instantly de-equip our tool by sending it back to our backpack inside of our player object. And our cooldown is a boolean that whenever we activate our tool, it will make it true, which will prevent any further use or activation of our ability until the cooldown is set back to false. So over here, our actual ability is here, and then our cooldown will be 3 seconds for this video, and then we'll go back to 15 balls. We're going to be using the same format for our ability as last episode. So it will play an animation, but our Cero beam does not have an animation, so we're skipping that part. We're going to be making to set up our variables. It's important that you set up your variables before. Holy crap! Wait, AI might be cooking. No, it's not. It's important to set up your variables before this line because we're using script.parent.parent in order to find the humanoid and humanoid root part, but this line changes our parent to our backpack, which will cause an error with the variable lines above if we change our parent. Now let's test. Or I forgot, we have to turn off the handle. As you can see, it works. Alright, first up, we need to learn how Tween works, and here I have an entire Tween thing already set up. So first, you have to get your Tween service object, which allows you to start the whole thing. And then the Tween service object has one method called Tween service create, and it takes in 3 parameters. The first parameter is the object that we're going to be tweening, which is going to be this part right here. The information is how you adjust the settings of your animation tween, and the goal is what you input for the final goal. And how this thing works is how tweening works in general is you need a property that you want to tween first. So we're going to tween our size. So once you have your property, which in our example is going to be size, you type in the property name in here, size, and then equal the new number that you want. And size is a vector 3 input, so you have to use a vector 3. So let's make the new goal for this part a 5x5x5 block. So now what I have set up here is this object or block here will become a 5x5 size block from a 2x2 size block, because right now it's 2x2 here, and this will occur in 4 seconds. As you can see, over the course of 4 seconds, it grows to 5x5x5 block. Now that we know how Tween works, now we're going to create our actual Cero. The Cero model I use, first I got a Cero model from What's Base. Type in Cero, capital C, and get the first thing out. This thing is really versatile. What's called the outline is already set up with the inside, so all you have to do is change the color and change the name, and you're good. I like to name the outside one outer and the thing in the middle inner. It makes it really simple and organized. And now let's recolor this really quickly. Now we make it neon. Easy Cero model. Now for the tweening part. So what I'm gonna do is you can tween mesh parts, and I'm gonna tween this mesh part a lot. And how I'm gonna pull this off is, let me make this into a small ball real quick. And of course make the outside one a little bigger so it shows. This is why we named the thing, so we know which one's which really easily. So we have our small little orb, and we're gonna use Tween to make it bigger, like this, and then we're gonna turn it into a giant stroke. So first I make another orb, and instead of like calculating all the new positions and all the new sizes I want for a Tween, I'm just gonna duplicate this, change the size of this to be bigger, and then how I'm gonna tween this is I'm gonna make this one invisible, and then tween this orb, and then get the properties of our like invisible bigger orb, only the size and position property, and it will tween this little orb into this bigger orb. And that's the general idea on how we're gonna make the Cero. And once it gets to the big orb, we actually make the bigger Cero. This, yeah, get mine invisible so we can see. Basically, what I'm trying to do here, it's like, if you ever animated a humanoid, basically what I'm doing is I'm making different keyframes for this little orb right here and using Tween to animate all of it together. So now I just gotta move this here. So it lines up for a little orb. And then now I make it invisible. And this is basically our second keyframe. And now let's make our third keyframe. You only need to make it invisible once you're done to see the finished product. So what I'm trying to do is the orb gets bigger, then turns into a big Cero, and then shrinks down and actually you'll just see it. It's easier if I just show you this. need our last keyframe, which will be our fading away keyframe. There we go, we got all 3 of our keyframes. Now that we have a complete model, we're gonna actually use our script and put it to use. So first, we make our script, which I've already done. Make all these variables, one for your inner part, the inner circle, the outer circle, and every keyframe that we created, and Tween service. Now, we have to make all of our keyframes invisible, since they're not actually going to be seen. We're only using them for reference for this function. Anchor them. Make sure you turn off can collide and can touch for all your keyframes as well. Now, we're going to be making this function that will simplify the use of the tween track object. It will just make it easier for us to use. So first, this is the tween info that we're going to put in, and the second argument key is by using the keyframe that we put in, we will transmute or tween the inner and outer to the keyframe that we specify. And we only need to tween the size and position, so the goal that I'm typing in right now is only the size and position goals, because that's all we need for the visual part to make this animation look nice. The only properties we need to use. Then we have to create our tween track for both inner and outer, and then play it to complete our function. The little orb to keyframe A, which should produce an effect of our little orb expanding into a bigger orb, because keyframe A is a bigger version of our tween, the objects that we're going to tween for this visual. Okay, here you don't need to make a variable for tweeninfo.new. If you just want to, you can just put tweeninfo.new. It'll create a tweeninfo object for the parameter, and that'll still work. And as you can see, our little function here works perfectly. And now I'm going to make a keyframe for I'm going to use this function to iterate through every keyframe to produce our first test of our animation. Our animation, and it looks really sloppy. Well, this is to be expected. I didn't get it perfect on my first try either. So now this phase, this is where we start testing new values. Usually it's always the wait timer, so it makes it simple. So we just change things until it looks a lot nicer. It's time to explain easing styles. Basically, in the second parameter for your tween info, you can type in anim.usingstyle and you have access to a lot of options. So the default using style is linear, and basically what using styles do is they like smooth the animation differently. So like sine, it makes it's faster in the middle but slower at the ends, at the start and the end. Okay, for the first one we're going to be using bounce, because what bounce would do is, I'll just show you. As you can see, it changes the way it tweens. And I'm only going to use bounce for the first and third one. And then I'm going to edit the timer here again. I think it should go a little faster than it already is. It should make the animation look a lot smoother. I think the whole thing just needs to be faster. Yeah. There we go. Alright, we need to change its style. I think this part just needs to be faster. As you can see, it's looking more and more like a Cero game. Mess around with it. This technique is just trial and error. As you can see, after a lot of testing, this took an hour to make, by the way, to perfect the animation. So basically, you just want to play around until you get it just right. We're gonna move on to the next section now. Now we're in the final section, which is just touching up and putting everything together. So first, we're gonna move our model right back into our tool, and then disable the script, because how our tool works is it duplicates this model, puts it in front of our character, and then plays the script. And in order for it to do that is we need first the core, or this reference part that I like to call core. Because what we do is, with the model's primary part is this core called part. And we're gonna right here. And when the model has a primary part, when we move a model using pivot to or the move to methods, it moves the primary part as the model's position and then brings everything along with it. I'm gonna need a reference here for this. There we go. Make sure it's facing toward the front of the humanoid so the orientation isn't different. And how to use to check that is using a decal. As you can see, the orientation is front. It's facing toward the same way the root part to be facing, which is forward. And now that we have that, we move this part inside of our model in this core and make it the primary part. Also make sure to anchor it and make it invisible. There we go. Set the primary part. Adjust this part. This is the big orb. It's like our final result of the orb charge. We're gonna make it a little out. Should we? Wait, no. I forgot. If we, using our tweening magic, we can just move this here and it'll expand outward. There we go. So basically, when we play our animation, the core will be moved here, and it will place our entire thing right in front of this humanoid. And now, we move this model with the tool, make a variable of core, or the model, and make sure to clone it. We're using a clone of the model here. First, script or we gotta move the model pivot to, or actually I'm gonna do parts C frame. Pivot to moves the C frame. Basically, the orientation and the position are saved on the C frame. Then we make the model's parent equal workspace, because since we're moving the tool's parent to de-equip it instantly, we don't want the model to be dragged around by our tool when we move the tool around, or else problems are going to happen. And finally, we need to activate the script inside of the model. And now if we play here, our tool does not work. Alright, I found the problem. You see this core right here in the earlier demonstration? Yeah, I forgot to remove the script from there. So now if we play it, it should fire Cero really slowly. After this, you just want to add your sound. I added lights to the good Cero, and you have to turn on the lights as it plays. So I'm going to quickly add the sound effects I used for this Cero model real quickly. I'll put the sounds inside of the description, fast sound IDs. So Cero Blast and Sound 2. Sound 2 is what I use for charging sound. Load it down. So to play a sound, it's very simple. You get your sound, you select it, Sound 2, and then you just hit the method play, and it'll play the sound. For the Cero sound effect, I did some fancy stuff. So what I did was I made a function called play Cero fire, and what this would do is make the Cero sound a variable, so it's easier to access. And it would play the Cero. But let me see how I did with the other script. Okay, basically, I used this thing called quarantine.create and quarantine resume. I'm not gonna teach you what this does. Basically, it plays a different thread and it runs a script without interrupting the current script. And I use this because I can play the sound effect without like delaying the rest of the script. So here, as you can see, first I made the sound normal speed, play, set the time position, play, wait 0.5 seconds because that's how long I want it to play, and then change the sound position, let it play again, wait, set another wait statement, then I make it get quieter as it repeats itself over and over again until it stops. So I'm just gonna copy this whole function actually. Oh, I already did. So now if I play it, oh yeah, this is a function that has to be played manually. I'm gonna increase the wind-up time real quick because that's how the script is supposed to work. Or it should just last 10 seconds. Yeah, I also have particle emitters on my other orb. Particle emitters, I showed you how to make them last episode. I'm not gonna show you how to make them this episode. Take this 1 second, then make it play Cero fire. Now if we play, it plays the Cero noise. It didn't work exactly as I intended it to, but it works for this video, I guess. Now to achieve this Cero, it takes a lot of trial and error to perfect the animation. Now that's the end of this video. Hope you liked it, hope it was helpful. Now next time I think I'm gonna do a grab like attack basically a close range attack with like camera cuts and stuff. So yeah, alright, that'll be next time. Bye bye. The hitbox section is going to be made in another video because it is just such a universal skill. Okay, bye bye.